Students, say hi, teacher, please. Good.
Good morning.
Good morning, teacher.
Open your microphone and your camera first. Okay. Students, 1, 2, 3. Good.
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning, students. How are you today?
Right.
All of you are fine, happy, healthy. All right, students, so just wait for a while. Let all of your friends join the class so we can start. So our today's class is which subject? Occupation. So you're having your textbooks already with you, students? All right, students, so open up your books, your textbooks, and today we are going to start new unit. Page number 70. Are you ready, students?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start. All right, so today we are going to start unit number 4. So unit 4 is agriculture. Agriculture. So in this unit, what we are going to learn? We are going to learn about some of the meaning of growing garden plants. Then we'll have some of the examples of growing garden plants. Also, we are going to discuss the types of garden plants. Also, we are going to learn about tools and equipments for what we are going to use for growing garden plants. Also, benefits of growing garden plants. So these are all we are going to discuss in unit number 4, agriculture. So let's start from page number 70. So our first topic is growing garden plants. How we can grow plants in our gardens, right? So first of all, we are going to learn what is the meaning of growing garden plants. So garden plants include all of the plants that people grow in places like parks, gardens, schools, and outside the houses. All those sort of plants like which are being grown in the parks, gardens, schools, outside of the houses. So they are all include garden plants. All right. So growing garden plants can be a source of income of a hobby. Garden plants can be divided into 2 groups. One, flowering plants. Second, foliage plants. So these are the two type of plants which we can grow in the gardens, and it can be also a source of income. Also, it can be a hobby. Okay, students. So here, garden plants, they include all of the plants that people grow in places like parks, gardens, schools, and outside the house. They are all garden plants. Okay. Growing gardens plants can be a source of income of hobby, and garden plants can be divided into two groups. Group number first, flowering plants. Second, foliage plants. So what are the flowering plants and foliage plants? What are the difference? So first of all, flowering plants. So flowering plants are plants that have beautiful flowers and offer smell nice. Like usually you find those plants which having like a flowers, right? And they smell quite nice. They're having like a good smell. So those are flowering plants. For example, roses, zinnias, marigold, and globe amarants, right? So these are all flowering plants. Some flowering plants have a short life, like all of the plants, actually, they're having different period of life. Some of the plants, they're having short life. Some of the plants, they're having a long life. So short lifespan and last for just one season. Those plants, actually those flowering plants, which having a short life, so mostly they just last for one season, not more than one season. Other are longer lasting and grow for many years. So some of the flowering plants, actually they're having a long life, and they can last for many years. For example, white champaka and yalang yalang. So these are the flowers which having a long life. They last more than one season, or it can last for many years. All right, students, you understand that two type of plants which we grow in the gardens. Students, do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, so don't forget, one are flowering plants, other ones are foliage plants, right? So flowering plants, they're always having like a flowers, and they're having a good smell, which can be grow in the gardens. Here you can see in the picture, these are some of the flowers, right? Flowering plants like marigold, jasmine, rose, white champaka. So these are some of the flower plants which we can grow in the gardens. All right, either in the park, either in the school, or outside of our houses. So some of them, they're having short life, right? It lasts just for a season. Some of these plants, it lasts for longer period, maybe for a year, and maybe more than that. Maybe it can last for many years. So these are the different type of flowers. Now, those were the flowers. Now, what are the foliage plants? Foliage plants are plants that have beautiful leaves and stem. So usually foliage plants, actually, they don't have flowers, okay? They look beautiful, they're having beautiful leaves and stems. They do not usually have flowers. There are many examples of foliage plants, including garden croton, devil's ivy, and elephant ear. So these are some of the type of foliage plants. As you can see here in the picture, garden croton, this is how it looks. As you can see here, these plants, actually the leaves, they are quite beautiful. So we can place it in our house as a decoration. It will look nice, right? But usually they don't have flower. They're having beautiful stem and beautiful leaves. Other than that, devil's ivy. So this is also quite beautiful in look, as you can see here. And caladium. Caladium, as you can see here, they're having like a greenish, reddish, green, different and golden sort of color of leaves. So these are some of the example of foliage plants. Okay, students, you understand that? What do we mean by foliage plants? Foliage plants are that have beautiful leaves, that having beautiful leaves and stems, and they do not usually have flowers. There are many examples, as you can see here, some of them in the picture. So these are all foliage plants. Okay, students, you understand that? We're having two types of plants which we can grow in the garden. One are flowering plants.
Yes.
So flowering plants, they usually having flowers which having good smell. Other ones are foliage plants. So foliage plants are they having like a beautiful leaves. It look beautiful in the look, but usually they don't have flowers. So these are the two type of plants which we can grow up in our garden, either in front of our houses. Okay, students, any question, anything you not understand about two type of plants which we can grow? Any questions? No? Okay, now let's continue. Okay, so here, benefits of growing garden plants. Here we are going to learn is like a growing garden plants, they're having many benefits. Okay, so here are some of the benefits for us if we grow garden plants in our house, or either in a garden, either in front of our house. So number one, growing garden plants outside of the house can make the people living there feel more cheerful. This is one benefit. If we having like a garden plants, actually, so if we having garden plants in our house, while people like living in there, they will be feel like more cheerful, more refreshment. They will feel like more freshy. This is one benefit. Number two, garden plants can be used to decorate gardens and buildings. So these plants, actually garden plants, we can use in our house to decorate our garden, to decorate building, to decorate our house. This is also one of the benefit. Number three, garden plants can be used for ceremonies. For example, weddings, Waikru Day, funeral day, or funeral, or some other sort of ceremonies. So we can use that. So for example, if you're having like some kind of ceremony, like for example, if you're having wedding, or either like a Waikru Day or any other kind of special day, so we can also use for ceremony. Number four, garden plants make a nice present. For example, a bunch of flowers can be given to someone who is sick to cheer them up, or to congratulate someone when they graduate from university. So if we're having like a garden plants, right? So the benefit of that is we can make it as a present. We can present to, like we can have a bunch of flowers. If we're having like a flowers in our garden, and we collect those flowers and make a bunch of that, and we can give them to the people. If, for example, some of our friends or family or anybody is sick and we go to see them, so we can present to them. So if we present to them, they will be cheer up. They will be more happy. It can make them feel more better, right? Either we can use to present to somebody, if our friends and family members, somebody, they graduate from the university. Once their study is finished, they graduate from the university. So we can present to them, okay, in the university. So this is also one of the benefit of growing garden plants. Number 5, garden plants could be a source of income for someone running a gardening business. So if we're having garden plants, right, so we can make income from that. We can make money out of that. All right. So some people, they make a small business. They grow up their own garden plants, they grow up their own flowers, and they can sell them. So they can make money from that. So that means it can be a source of income as well. It can be a source of small business as well. Okay, students, you understand that? The benefits of the growing garden plants. Students? Students, answer me please. Do you understand the benefits of growing garden plants?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I repeat one more time. What are the benefits? The benefits of, if we having the garden plants in our house, so it can make people living there feel more cheerful. Also, we can use for decoration of our garden and buildings. Number 3, we can make, actually, garden plants can be used for ceremony. If they're having some special ceremony, right? So we can use those flowers to make a bunch of that and present to somebody. Other than that, we can also present to somebody. If we meet somebody who is sick and we present to them the flower, a bunch of that, so it can make them feel better. Number 5, we can also make it as a source of income. All right. So these are some of the benefits of growing garden plants. Okay, now students, here we're having some of the activity. So the activity, actually, this is just an example. I write for you already, but you have to write down your own answers. Okay, students? So the activity here we're having growing garden plants. So first of all, number 1, what you have to do, draw and color a picture of flowering plants or a foliage plants in your local area, and then write the name and benefits of each one in the blank space. So around you, in your house or in your local area, if they're having like a foliage plants or flowering plants, so you can just write down the name of that, like what type of plants you having in your local area, or either like a flower, you can just write the name. So first of all, what you have to do, you have to write down the name of the flowering plants. Okay, if the plant, the flowering plants, the name nearby your local area, it's like a marigold, either jasmine, either rose. So what you have to do, you just write down the name. So here I just give an example. The example is marigold, right? Then you have to write the benefit. What is the benefit of that flower, right? So for example, it will be, the benefit will be like a beautiful community, like the local area, it will look more beautiful. Okay, so you have to write down any of them, just any flowering plants you're having in your local area. You write down the name of that and the benefit of that. After that, you have to write down also name of the foliage plants. First one is flowering plants. Second one, you have to write foliage plants. So for example, the name, it will be like a golden pothos, right? And what are the benefits? So the benefits is also the same, like a beautiful community, right? And also if you're having a picture, right, so you can put down the picture in this portion. Okay, after that, what you have to do, you have to compare. You're having both type of plants, right? The flowering one and the foliage ones. Both of the plants you already have. Then what you have to do, you have to compare. And what you have to compare, you have to compare the similarities and the difference between both type of plants, and then you have to write down in the diagram here. So for example, you have to write down the characteristics of flowering plants, and then you have to write down characteristics of foliage plants. Both of them you have to write down, and then things, what are the things which is common between those type. Like for example, flowering plants, the characteristic, it can have a beautiful flower and smell good. If you're having a beautiful flower, so they also having a good smell. It is the characteristics of flowering plants. Other than that, the foliage plants, what are the characteristics? So they have beautiful leaves. So the leaves are beautiful because foliage plants, they don't have flowers, but they're having a beautiful leaves and stem. So both you can write characteristics, right? Both sides, each of them. And then the things is common. Both of the plants, sorry, both of the plants, what are the things which is common between both of them? So you just write down. So the common thing between both of the flower is decorate place. Wherever we put flowers, flowering plants or foliage plants, so both of them actually, they make the place look more beautiful, decorate the place. Okay, students, you have to write down. And then question number 3, what might be the benefit of having flowering and foliage plants next to the house for the people living there? So if you put the flowering plants or foliage plants in front of your house, so what will be the benefit? What will be the benefit for the next house, the people who living next to you? So for example, the area, it will, the local area, it will look more beautiful, right? And more attractive. So the benefit is people feel more cheerful. They will feel more cheerful and more freshy. Okay, students, you understand that? You have to write down the activity, okay? This is just only an example. The answer given to you here, these are all example. Similar like that, you can make your own answers. Okay, students, you understand that? Any questions? Students, anything you not understand, you can ask me. No questions?
No.
Okay, all right, let's continue. Okay, now our next topic is growing garden plants. So here we are going to learn how we can grow the garden plants. Okay, we can also grow by our own. Okay, so growing garden plants. Number 1, tools and equipments for growing garden plants. Like what type of tools and equipment is required so for the growing of garden plants? So here we're having some of them. So first of all, agriculture tools and equipments are made to help with growing plants. They also save time and effort. The appropriate use of tools and equipments can make the quality of work, increase the lifetime, and help to prevent accident from happening. So these are all actually what is the benefit of the tools and equipments, and what they give us more benefit, right? So for example, like tools and equipments of growing garden plants, actually it help us to grow plants more, save our time and effort. We don't need to put a lot of effort and energy, and we don't waste our time. Okay, and if we use appropriate accurate tools and equipment, so it can actually improve the quality of work and also increase their life, and also help to prevent accidents from happening. So it can help to avoid accidents as well. So tools and equipments. Number one, watering can. Here you can see, students, on your screen, this is what we call watering can. So watering can is one of the important equipment for growing garden. So watering can is made from either metal or plastic. It is recommended for watering small plants or shoots. Keep a distance about 30 centimeters between the watering can and your plants. Be careful, do not add too much water to the watering can. So usually the watering can we use for, it helps us to water our plants. So actually, what is it made from? It is made from either from the metal, either from plastic. Okay, so and we usually use for small plants, not for the bigger plants, right? We use it for small plants or shoots. So while we're using it, what we have to do, we have to maintain 30 centimeter between the watering can and the plants. Like while we watering the plant, so we have to have the distance about 30 centimeter. So if more than that, maybe we can damage the plants. So we have to maintain the distance between watering can and plants. So you always have to be careful. Be careful to add, you're not supposed to add too much water to the watering can. Now, how we can maintain? Maintenance means how we can look after, how we can take care of the tools or equipment. So after we use watering can, what we have to do, drain out all of the water. After use, store it properly by turning it upside down or hanging it up. So once we use watering can and we are done with the watering, so what we have to do, we have to drain all of the water. If they're having some water remaining, we have to drain it out, and after that we just store it in a proper place, upside down, or either hang somewhere where it is safe. Okay, students, you understand that? Watering can, what are the use of watering can? Have you ever tried, students? Have you ever tried watering can by yourself? Tell me.
Yes, I could.
Who's tried that? Raise your hand. Okay. All right. Next, our next equipment, what we can use, that one is a bucket. A bucket is made from either galvanized iron or plastic. So a bucket is actually also used for watering plants. Okay, one was watering can, and the second one we can use bucket. Okay, so bucket is actually also made from either iron, either from metal, either from plastic. So usually it is recommended for watering fully grown or strong plants, like those type of plants like which are strong enough and which grow already 100%. So we use bucket to water them, to give them water, right? So bail the water out by hand from the bucket to water your plants. You always have to be careful not to do this with small plants because they may be harmed. So usually for small plants we use watering can, but for the strong plants or those plants which are fully grown, so for those we use bucket. Okay, so you always have to be careful not to do this for small plants. Okay, usually we use this one for fully grown plants or strong plants. Okay, because it can damage the plants. All right, how you are going to maintain, how you are going to take care of bucket? It's quite simple. Just drain out all of the water after use and store it properly by turning it upside down. Once you are done with the watering, if they're having remaining water, just drain it, throw it somewhere, drain it, and then put the bucket upside down. So this is how you can maintain bucket. Okay, students, so these are the two tools, actually equipments, which we use for watering plants. One is watering can, second one is bucket. Which one you use, students? Often you use bucket or watering can? Can you let me know, students? Okay, now number 3. So number 3 equipment, we having a hose, right? Here you can see a hose, right? So a hose usually come with a nozzle at one end. They do have like a nozzle at one end, okay, and connected to the water tap at the other end. You can use a hose to water plants in the same way as watering can. So this is what we call hose, right? So hose, usually they're having a nozzle, right? And it is connected with the pipe, with the pipe here. So the head of that, actually, it is like a watering can. It's quite similar to that. All right. So this one we can also use for watering plants. All right. A hose usually come with a nozzle at one end and connected to the water tap. At the other end, you can use hose to water plants in the same way as watering can. So we use the hose exactly the same way how we use the watering can. Now, how we have to maintain is maintenance. So roll the hose up before use and then store indoor. Otherwise, it may get dry and break because of the sun. So once you are finished with your work, once you are finished with your job, right, with your watering, after that, what you have to do, you have to roll the hose, okay, up before use, and then you have to store inside. Don't leave it outdoor, because if you leave it outdoor, so the sun, sometimes the sun rays is quite hot, so it can damage, so it can be break because of that. So you always have to store it indoor, not outdoor. Okay, students? So this is the third equipment what we use for watering garden plants. Now, other than that, we having some more tools. Number 4, a shovel, right? So usually here you can see this is what we call a shovel, right? So shovel is a tool made of a wide square metal. Here you can see it is actually made of a wide and square metal. This is what we call shovel, right? So usually with slightly raised size attached to a handle. The handle may be made from either metal or wood. It is actually usually used to dig a deep and narrow hole for growing plants or to loosen soil around plants. Hold the handle with one hand downward and the other hand upward when using it. So this is actually one of the important tool what we're using in for gardening. Okay, so what is it made from? It's made from metal. Actually, you can see here it is made from metal. Okay, so metal, and they also having some of them from the plastic as well, but usually it's made from metal. So usually with slightly raised side attached to a handle. So here you can see it's a large side and then it is attached with a handle. So this handle actually, it can be from wood, it can be also from metal, both. So it is actually attached at this point. Here you can see it is attached at this point. So this is actually, it can be either from the wood, it can be either from metal. All right. So what are the use of shovel? Usually we use it actually for to dig a deep and narrow hole. If we would like to plant, okay, and we need to dig the soil, right? And a narrow hole, small hole, not too wide, small hole. So we use the shovel, right? How do we use here? We have to hold with one hand downward and the other hand upward. So if you would like to dig, right? So our one hand, it will be right here. We hold it, and other hand upward here. So this is how we hold it, okay? And then we dig the soil so we can grow the plants. So how we are going to maintain it? Maintenance. So clean the shovel every time after use, then dry it by wiping and applying oil to the metal. After, once you are done with your work, what you have to do, you have to clean it. Okay, you have to clean it every time after use, and then you just make it dry by wiping. Apply oil. After when it's dry, then you can just whip a bit oil on that. You can apply oil on that. On which part? On the metal part, this part, not on the wood. Okay, just only on the down part. So you just clean it up, make it dry, and then apply a little bit oil on that. So what will happen? It will actually prevent the rust. It won't get rusty, so it won't get damaged. If there are any problem with the shovel, for example, blade gets twisted or nicked, it should be fixed before storing. So if you find any problem, okay, like if the shovel is damaged, so before you store it, you have to fix it, okay? Before storing it, you have to fix it. So next time when you are going to use, so it will be ready to use. Okay, students? Now you understand 4 of the more important tools which is useful for gardening. Students, you understand today's lesson? What are the important equipments and tools we're using?
Yes.
Horse, shovel, right, bucket, and water can. So these are the 4 important equipments which we use. So this is all for today, students. The remaining equipments and tools we are